Yeah.
This is a Diet Coke and
Soda.
soda.
Yeah, some kind.
That's kind of a strange
That-
iced tea there.
Yeah, that's a bit suspect, that one.
Yeah.
That's one of the small.
So today we have a couple special guests. We have Rob and Jordan from Club Champion, who've just been promoted to a couple big positions, right?
Yeah. East Coast General Manager.
Regional Sales Director.
Yep. And you're Jordan. You're down in Naples, and Rob is in Charlotte, right?
Correct.
Oh yeah.
You know, in my phone, I have you down as Rob Charlotte.
What am I down as?
There's so many Robs. You're down as British Jordan in Naples.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Nick calls me Brexit at the moment. That whole Trip at Stream song, that's what I was. Brexit.
What is going on down there anyhow?
I have no clue. That's why I live over here now. Just try and stay away from it. I'm dealing with all the
You're not
politics
He
now.
left a long time ago.
Yeah.
You're not concerned about their currency?
No, 13 years, 14 years ago I left.
So these two guys are some of the best club fitters that there are, and thus the reason for being promoted. And I don't know. Let's just talk about custom fitting today. And there are a lot of people that really don't know truly what goes on in custom fitting. And maybe we can in the 23 minutes that we have left here.
Is that it?
So yeah, that's all. That's all,
Nice.
folks. That's all the time we have. We're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for coming on, and
Touched on some serious subjects there. It was good.
let's go have a cocktail. Tell me about custom. You've been doing it from the very beginning with early days, right? With
2009 is when I started doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2009 started just outside of New York City and started fitting from there. Then I started working for a manufacturer for about 3-4 years, and then been with Club Champion for a little over 3 years at this point. So it's, seeing definitely an evolution over the last, 10, 11 years at this point, from, a little bit more OEM stuff to now there's so many, different custom shafts and I mean, so many different vendors that seem like are entering the marketplace too. So it's a good time to get custom fit for sure.
I don't think that many people really know about custom fitting yet. I think we're still, I think maybe 25% of the people out there really know truly anything about custom fitting, about getting custom fit.
I mean, the problem that I see happen sometimes in our store, and I'm sure it happens in Naples as well, is people will say, people will come in to us for a fitting and they go, hey, I want to get custom fit. And we go, okay, perfect. We're going to try different shafts, different heads. We're going to be able to figure out launch angles, land angles, spin rates. And they're thinking, length and lie angle. And that's it, and so we've got to really go down the list of every variable that's possible. I know there's a lot of other things that you can do with a tennis racket. I learned that. I got to visit Wilson's facility recently and got to see that. But, basketball is going to be the same size, the hoop is the same height, and you're changing your shoes. So golf's a little different animal when it comes to the equipment. You got so many different things that we can play around with to really make it perform better.
Yeah, it definitely has changed. It's crazy. There, like you said, there's so many variables now, and it just keeps growing. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know how many shaft vendors you have there now. It's a good amount. I mean, we have all the OEMs.
Yeah.
Why should somebody come in and get custom fit? I mean,
I think now they're seeing and should get an education when they do it too. As good fitters, you should give them really a good education through the whole process before you even get in the bay and start testing the product. They should know what they're really looking at, what is custom fitting, and we walk them through that process of what we're going to be doing on that day, and the steps we take to get the performance out of their bag. It makes it more fun for them as they go through the process of, okay, this is why we're doing the things we're doing during the fit, and I understand all the numbers. And that's really, it's not just about custom fitting a set of golf clubs for you to go out and play. It's understanding the process of what custom fitting is when we go through that.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of people are intimidated by the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, let's face it, we're not all scratch players. We're not all 10 handicappers. They're like, I mean, if you're a 20 handicapper, is it still worth it coming in and getting custom fit? I know the answers to these questions,
Yeah.
but this is I'm leading you.
I had a good experience. One of the first fits I did in Naples, a gentleman came in. He was a 30 handicap, 31 or 32, and he stood there, and we went through the process, the chats, and we got in there, and he kind of looked at me and said, because he looks at the wall, 35,000 combinations, a lot of shafts, very intimidating, high handicap player. He takes a few swings with his clubs, and he looks at me and says, I don't even know if I should be doing this. Am I really at the level where I need this? And after the first few combinations we went through, it was pretty impressive to see, his reaction and the numbers change. He's dropped 20 strokes.
Wow.
Like that. He's come down so much. He's one of my best clients now in Naples.
Wow.
Really impressive.
Yeah, I think people are just getting intimidated by
Yep.
coming in, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
People are a lot more consistent than they give themselves credit for. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean perfect, but consistent, and you can fit consistent. So that's why we use Trackman and all the cool stuff at Club Champion. But it allows us to be able to really get in there and see what's going on.
So we don't have our video guy with us today. We don't have our sound guy. So it's kind of like the VA team is manning a bunch of equipment. It's like trying to drive a space shuttle or fly a space shuttle. And so as you're sitting there talking, I'm thinking, did we hit record on that camera? Since Heather's on the other camera, Ray's over there doing nothing. You should at least have a drink over there, Ray.
I do.
Oh, there. Okay, good. This is entertaining. Okay, so but we were talking about the intimidating factor, and but I think it's a lot easier to show improvement with actually a higher handicapper.
Massively.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, you get somebody that comes in that's a high handicapper. Typically, if you get down into the minutia of it, the smash factor is probably pretty low. If we can halfway do our job well and find a better shaft that works for them, then they're going to pick up 20 or 30 yards, right? I had a tour player that came in. We went through a driver fit. We picked up 7 yards, and he was like, "Man, this is freaking awesome." And I'm like, "Really? Okay." 7 yards for them is huge. And then you get, some guy that walks in that's a 30 handicap, and we pick up 30 yards on a driver.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's massive.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it many times. Not only that, I mean, we should be just as concerned about dispersion.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you get guys, there are strong people that come in, strong players, but they can't control it. Mm-hmm. And, it could be your swing, but 10 to 1 is your swing, but a lot of it is the shaft and head combination. You not only can do things with shaft and head combinations to increase distance, but you can do it with you can tighten dispersion as well, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That there should be a lot of emphasis on that going into the fitting. We try and preach that. It's not all about picking up the distance, but if we can give you both dispersion and distance, that's great. But a lot of the ways we can do it is in swing weighting and all these different aspects of lie angles and these kind of things that will make that dispersion, and they see it. We're not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes. They're watching it on the screen with us, and the Trackman numbers change and the circles get smaller and smaller as we really dial in the club through the fitting. So definitely an emphasis on accuracy, and when most people come in and really preach that.
So after somebody comes in, how long does a fitting actually take, would you say? I mean, if it's just if it's a driver fitting.
Driver fitting's about an hour and a half. It depends on really what you're looking for. For us, a full bag's going to take about 3.5 hours.
Wow. And a full bag includes, you can do putting as well?
Pretty much everything. Yep.
What do you do? How do you fit a putter? I mean, what's the deal there? And I really don't know that since we don't make putter shafts
Yet.
yet.
For us, we use Sand Putt Lab, so it allows us to be able to see everything going on in the stroke, and basically, based on your stroke, what kind of putter would best complement that, right? So you've got a bunch of different ways to fit a putter. You could either go on the arc type, which is a lot of your ping stuff. How you aim a putter, for me, I think how you aim that putter at impact is a lot more important. Is that face aiming at the target when you hit the ball? So we're able to see everything that's going on with that stroke and play around with some different putters and things like that. Get that ball rolling end over end as well as you possibly can too. It's pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'd hate to see where I'm aiming.
Yeah, it's amazing when you do put certain people on that, and they just.
But some people will aim, and in fact, I think I do this. I aim it a little bit to the right, and I come in closed, and
oh yeah,
that's why I'm one of the best players in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why you do what you do.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah.
You guys agree, right?
Absolutely.
Those who can't do teach, those who can't teach fit, those who can't fit build the stuff. I don't know.
And those that can't build design shafts.
Mm-hmm. And those who can't do anything do podcasts.
That's right. I like it. He always sounds more intelligent because of that accent.
I know,
right?
It's
sneaky,
almost like a savant. We were with Nick and Joe last night having dinner at Vito's, and they were weird. We had this big conversation about savant.
As you do.
Yeah.
Well, Victor put instant coffee in the regular coffee.
Yeah, I pulled a good move.
It tasted like total crap.
Yeah,
It was not a savant.
Let me for all you listening, do not put instant coffee in a coffee maker. It
doesn't work.
It does taste like shit. Yeah, so I went straight to the Coke Zero.
There you
go. This morning, but what else? What else on the fitting? How about wedges? Are wedges a big part of the game now? A big part of the fitting process?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little tricky side to the fitting, I think, inside, right? Because you're playing off a mat. With the wedges, so for me, that's a big conversation. Before you even start hitting wedges, it's a big conversation of the courses you play and the turf conditions you play, because then you're really getting into the bounce and the grind of the wedge. There's all these different factors involved in a wedge. It's not just the degree of the wedge and then another number that some people don't even know what that means.
Right,
10,
right.
And then on top of that, like I said, you've got the bounce, the way that the wedge is ground down in certain areas and gives you good turf interaction. So there's a lot that goes into wedges. I have a big conversation before I even get into them hitting. But once we fit through the irons, we kind of have an idea of the specs based off the 6-iron that we fit them into. All that flows into the wedges. Then we just got to get our gapping correct and then get the right bounce, the right grind. So it's a very big piece. 40% of the game is, I think, putting. When we do our Sand Putt Lab analysis, 40% of the game. You got to think inside 100 yards is really where the game's played.
Oh yeah.
So you take wedges and putting, you got to factor in 60% of the game right there.
Yeah, that's got to be huge, right?
Yep.
I mean the game's evolving, right? So the toughest thing with wedges now is figuring out where is the iron set makeup and where do we go from a wedge. It used to be 52, 56, 60, easy. All right, cool, let's go. And now it's, do we need to go 48, 54, 60, or what kind of gapping are we talking in order to make sure that whole set's working out well? So a lot of different things that go into it now.
Yeah, so a lot of the better players that are coming through now. I mean, you see these guys just like everybody's over 300 yards now. Mm-hmm. What's up with that? I mean,
custom fit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of your better players have already been fit, kind of, and now things are changing where I think that's become a bigger piece. But, as things have evolved, you have gone less fitting with the green grass side and with those fitting carts that you've got, 10 different shafts that you can play around with. We're working with 150 different shafts, so, I mean, how many SKUs do you have, right?
Yeah,
so
we've
we've got a lot
of
of different things because you're not making a shaft
right
to just not break. You're not making it to be good for everybody. You're making it for one individual. And so if we can take that a step further than what green grass can do, that's why we're able to excel and expand.
Right. Right. You guys got the new Nemesis in? The new demos?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How's that going?
Very good. Yeah, it's a very good feeling shaft. That
So far, so
some
good.
good numbers.
I don't get to play anymore, so.
Yeah. We've
Too much travel.
Yeah.
we've got a lot of great feedback from a lot of the fitters and how it's been working and fitting and
I texted you the day I took it out.
Yeah,
I finally dig it out. I had to play
exactly.
it.
I tell everybody those Bosch shafts are really good.
Yeah. Sounds kind of French. Sounds exotic.
It is.
Yeah, so it's I think day one, I must have had about 5 or 6 texts from a lot of the fitters on how good it is and just hitting it themselves first and all that good stuff.
I think that was a big thing we learned from Nick was, or I remember from training, get all these shafts and get them in play yourself. Like, take a 29 gram stiff in a Basara or whatever, just put it in your hands and swing it.
Yeah.
And you'll figure out how to load that shaft and what the properties of the shaft are and how it performs.
Right.
That helps you big time when you're fitting people, but it's just great to actually do the testing yourself. Just take your shafts and put them in play, see what they do on the golf course and Trackman numbers, and it makes a difference.
I mean, I think that's an interesting point, right? Is you're going to say a certain shaft has a certain profile for this. It's supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Until you get it into a player's hand and see what it actually does, you don't know. One of the weirdest ones, I had a guy hitting I needed the ball low launch, low spin. I'd given him every shaft in the world to try that is a low launch, low spin shaft. And then nothing worked. And I handed him something that just was like, here, just take this for a minute. Let me go look at the wall of shafts and wait for something to speak to me. And I come back and it was the lowest launching, lowest spinning thing. I'm like, that on paper should not work. I don't know why it's working, but that works. And okay, let's continue, And he's like, this feels great.
Why would somebody come in and ask for a low launch, low spin? I mean, because theoretically, we're trying to increase distance, and increasing distance is going to be, a lot of it's based on launch angle, spin, the ball, et cetera. And why would somebody come in and ask that? And would you fight them on that? I mean, would you say, hey, okay, we could do that, but you're going to hit it 250 as opposed to 290?
I think a lot of it's there's a lot of information out there, and not all of it's great. For golfers, yes, Golf Digest, they start reading through. YouTube, great. I read this, I watched this video, and they think they know exactly what they're coming in for. But
they've prescribed themselves, right?
And I tell people when they come in, hey, let's check the ego at the door in a nice way, right? Because
in a British
way, we get away with it. We get away with a lot of things.
Do you offer them tea? Do you offer them tea?
Do
first?
I have tea in Club Champion Naples? You can have tea, British tea
at 1:00.
Anytime. There's no time limit for that.
What time is that noon tea?
You answered it.
In England.
Is
it noon?
Right around noon. Right around noon. High noon, yeah. It's not quite the Wild West high noon. It's a little laid back.
But it's like 6 hours ahead from here.
Sure. Five hours. So we basically, like I said, check it at the door, because you don't know, right? Let's see what your numbers are before we even get going. And, then, like I said, we do the education process and we start fitting from there, and we work off the numbers. And certain shafts that are supposed, like Rob said, that's supposed to do this, but depending on the player and how they load the shaft and their swing characteristics, there could be a lot of different things that end up happening through the fit.
Yeah. So you guys are 74 locations as of March, correct?
I believe that's right.
It's going to be 74 locations. How do you guys make your experience consistent throughout throughout 74 locations from a fitter perspective?
A lot of training, everybody's going to go through the same month-long training up at our Willowbrook location. And then from there, that's what our job is, right? We're here to oversee and make sure that everybody's got the best information possible. What we just hit on is a couple things I've already talked about multiple times to other fitters today is, what is this supposed to do? test it. Let's find out, see what happens with that player and then go from there. So, we're trying as we expand to make sure that we're having better communication along the lines with everybody to make sure that we're speaking the same language, right? So see where it goes from there.
That's a bourbon talking there.
Yeah, he's starting to slur now, isn't he?
Yeah.
T's catching up.
Okay, so I want to ask, and we can edit this, or you can chime in. So this is the time of the year where everything is launched and very exciting. How does that affect the morale of your stores and your club fitters? What do your club fitters look for? Is it performance? Is it aesthetics? Is it, how things go together? Are they really excited about this time of year like you guys are? What does the PGA merchandising show really bring to you guys? Because I know our graphics are just like the best thing out there.
Yeah. Yeah, we go through that period, I would say, late November into December, where everyone knows the new stuff's coming out, and as fitters, that you're still doing your job and fitting them into what works best, but you always have that little bit of fight back where it's, I'm going to wait till January, till after the show, because I know that this is coming out, and so on and so forth. So it just makes, I think, as fitters, we're more excited for the show because we're going to see all the new product, even though we pretty much already have it and have tested with it already. And just, that raises the morale level of fitters because we're excited to see what the product can do, and the customers that are actually wanting to hit the new stuff, and we have it before most others do, especially a lot of green grass operations. But it's an exciting time. The show's great. You can see all this cool stuff.
Nick was here this morning, and we were talking that everybody's coining this the major.
Yeah, is that new for this year?
Yeah. Let's see. This is 35 years now in a row, and I don't know, Ray. Have you ever heard this thing called the major?
No.
Yeah, somebody.
It won't last long.
Yeah, it's that millennial crowd must be your people.
Hey, well, I don't know anymore.
Your people are calling it the major.
I'm past. I'm not a millennial, I don't think.
Problem is everybody's already seen this stuff, right? I think it gives some more energy to the consumer base, right? We're getting a lot of people coming in asking for stuff, but from our level, like Jordan said, everybody's already seen it, right? And so, I think I came to the show for the first time probably 8 years ago, and at that point still there was stuff that you hadn't seen yet, right? And it was cool, and now it's like, okay, with my Golf Spy and Golf WRX and all those other forums and stuff, heck, you've seen it, right? So
if you're a junkie, you're a techie, you've seen it already,
right? And most of us are. So we've kind of checked it out, and so from a consumer standpoint, it's good. From a fitting standpoint, I think the nice part is it brings more people in the door, right?
Yeah.
Year to year, there's typically not a large enough change in product to where what I fit somebody for in December is going to change radically from what I fit them to in February. But chances are the shafts that they walked in December are going to be, a big jump from what they already had in their hands. And so the shaft change, I think now is the bigger part to the fitting aspect of it. That's going to give them the distance.
Especially VA, one of the best shafts in the world. Man, you get any celebrities coming through there?
You?
Yeah, well, that's true. Other than me.
B-list, let's see.
Well, we had Steve Stricker's been in 4 times to Naples.
Oh, well, that's cool.
That was cool.
That's cool.
We fitted
any movie stars or anything like that? Come on, somebody.
Not in Charlotte.
Naples. That's gonna be, Naples would be past my era if they do come in.
I thought these two cities were the Hollywood capitals.
We had Ron Rivera come into our shop.
Ron Rivera,
Great dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got fit and picked up a lot of distance.
Didn't he?
He's off to Washington now, so I got to work with those guys to make sure they get taken care of.
There you go.
Why is it that all the celebrities want everything for free? Yeah, I guess it's advertising, right?
Yeah,
might as well get it for free.
Everybody's an influencer now.
That's right.
So
that's right. A YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
A YouTuber.
Where's this going to be?
This will be on NBC.
Like I said, BBC America.
BBC America. I don't know, the Family Channel.
Tell me a little bit more about your PGA program. potential sales and exposure to not only Club Champion but custom fitting.
Sure.
For everybody listening, that's the producer. That's a producer of the show.
The ruler.
So kind of like what I mentioned before, you've got at that green grass level, mostly you've got those fitting carts, right? And so you're going to have a very limited selection of shafts. And I think the green grass guys are starting to see that there's a big expense. There's a big outlay of capital in order to be able to run a successful shop. And most people have already started going other places to purchase their product. So for us, our PGA partnership allows all of our stores to be able to work with the PGA professionals in the area to be able to send their members in to some place that they can trust, to some place that they can get fit to the best equipment, with the best technology, with the best guys, and get it built the right way. They don't have to worry about all the customer service issues on the back end. We're going to be the ones that can handle all of that, and there's no capital outlay at the end of it. So something that we're able to offer, I know Jordan and Naples, you guys have been super successful with it.
Yeah, it's really...
That's because he's a good salesman.
Yeah,
good fitter doesn't need to be a good salesman.
It's just the accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a good
Gotta get rid of
podcaster.
so
Just a
much.
good podcaster.
This could be a new venture.
It
I'm
could
looking
be.
forward to the next year.
It could be. This might be your new career.
I think the biggest thing is when we start talking to our PGA pros, director of golfs, and all these guys that we want to partner up with, is explain to them this is we're not in competition. We want to work with you.
Sure.
You're going to have happy members because they're going to get the service, they're going to get the quality, and all you have to do is kind of get on board. That's why we bring them in first, show them what we can do, and then it's a trickle effect. One member comes in that's one of the PGA Partners members. He comes in, he gets fit. He goes out and plays in his regular foursome, and all of a sudden, his regular group are like, hold on a minute, what have you been doing?
Mm-hmm.
We used
now
to
you're
be taking your money.
Yeah, you're 20 yards past me now.
Yeah.
What's going on here? So it's a trickle effect, and that's
Yeah.
where more and more will come in, and it's just then we grow that relationship, and then more pros will find out about what we do and what we offer on the back end. And like Rob said, there's very little that they need to really worry about the customer service aspect, because we do offer so much on that back end that we're going to take care of all that. And it's worked well. We've grown and really, really taken off with the PGA Partner Program.
That's cool. Well, congratulations. I appreciate you coming by and drinking my booze. And,
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
And talk.
That ginger beer is really
Yeah,
good.
ginger beer and tea. That's
Absolutely.
in the VA house. That's booze.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming by and taking your time and talking golf. It's always good to educate people on custom fitting and just too many people don't really know enough about what really goes on behind the scenes. So this might be the first podcast called Behind the Scenes with
Many more
Rob
to come.
and Jordan.
Many more to come, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Via
So
Skype,
can you
whatever.
guys come back maybe in 5 years and do it again?
I don't know if I've planned
I'll
that
probably
far
be,
out in a
I'll probably be
while.
running the podcast by then, won't I?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, yeah, you're right. I might be dead then.
That's the voice for podcasts.
The BBC.
The BBC.
Oh man, no, thanks a lot for coming by, and
having us.
we'll catch up with you. Appreciate your support with VA,
Absolutely.
Always.
and we'll catch up with you on down the line.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Peace. All right, buddy.